And good Friday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. We start this venture together today. 49 as you're waking up. We'll get to 80 for a high today. Nice weather. You can't beat that anyway. Friday night lights will be perfect weather, as it's all going to be a clear sky tonight as we get ready for ball games throughout the area. And I do hope you enjoy yourself and get out and see a few. We'll talk about the traffic backup here in just a few moments that is going on near Lauderdale, Mississippi, Highway 45 North. A fire that's taken place up there with a vehicle this morning that is underway. We're waiting on word if traffic is starting to flow once again. I hadn't gotten a message yet there, but there was some buildup there on Highway 45 earlier. One of the big things that we're watching today as Ian is back out, getting ready to strike near Charleston, South Carolina as a Category 1. As we look at this morning, it is traveling at 86 miles an hour. If you've got friends, family along the South Carolina coast, anywhere from Savannah over to Conway, be ready as we go back to pull this up from Meridian Honda radar. Here's where it is this morning as we look at this hurricane. Category 1, tracking along at 86 miles an hour. Wind gusts have reached 104 miles an hour in this. 984 millibars, moving north-northeast at 9 miles an hour. There was talk about at one point that was a possibility that it could gain enough to become a Category 2, and it doesn't look at this point that it will remain a 1 and slam in at this 86 miles an hour. We'll watch it closely throughout the day, and this should be sometime after lunch that it makes landfall. Rain already pouring as we look at the South Carolina coast. Charleston this morning, as you'll look at that, under a hurricane warning, storm surge warning, aerial flood watch, and also high surf advisory. Current statement, it is rough weather there. As you look here, we're getting showers all the way back to Kingston. Very, very heavy rainfall. And the pictures that we've received from Florida, horrific of what's gone on there. Homes destroyed. We'll look at, I want to say 17 confirmed deaths. We'll look at that. I think I'm right. We did have a sheriff that we were watching get interviewed a day or so ago. I think it was yesterday. And he had a miscount of people. He had a very high number, and they've backed away from that. But 17-ish is what we think. I'll get to the story here in just a little bit to verify what we're being told. This is Friday, the weekend upon us. Do hope you've got a big one going on. We have a lot of events that are going to be taking place this weekend. A lot of fundraisers in the area. We certainly hope that you get out and partake of a few things. Gunshots did ring out after dark last night in the city of Meridian. As we go to, let me hit this button here so we can all do this. I say that a lot, don't I? Because I forget to do it every day. So we can see as we pull this up, right along here, Highway 45 North, Hillside Drive is where reports of gunfire would be reported, not far from Mississippi Power Building. This was in the overnight hours. Now, no one hit, no one injured in that. But nonetheless, that did happen last night. That would not be the only place that that would go on. Let me skip around here and get up here where this we had. I didn't pull it up. Let's go back here and get this so we can show this. I don't know why I didn't pull this up. We had gunshots reported last night right before we get to where Point Rexall was. Do y'all know where I'm talking about? I'm skimming down here to get to this, to 24th Avenue. Right here is where we are. Let's pull this up where you can see this. This is going to be Point Rexall. It was right along in here, 24th Avenue, back down to that stop sign in that area there. Now, this would take you directly on up to Meridian High School, this road here, and this is Poplar Springs Drive. It was right along in this area here the gunshots were reported. About 7 shots were fired. Now, to my knowledge, again, no one hurt or injured in this, but nonetheless, we did have gunfire. Scared a few folks. I got a lot of messages over that one. Keep us informed of what happens in your neighborhood so we can share this, and authorities will know that, well, we don't like this. Do you? I don't. Not a bit. As we move to this morning's headline of what's going on across our area, let me go back here. This will be right above Lauderdale is what we're looking at this morning. We have a huge garbage truck fire, and I'm waiting a word of whether or not this has been cleared up. As we get up here, of course, this is going to be Ralph's house, the Ralph Morgan Rodeo. This is Old Highway 45. Right here, this is 45. This road here, Savage Cutoff Road, is where the garbage truck caught on fire. We had traffic backed up from this area all the way back to the Cefco. Roughly about a mile away from the store, traffic was backed up. Let's see here if we, let's see here. One lane is now opening, flowing, and the northbound lane. If you're headed toward Kemper County, there is one lane flowing now right through here. Right there is where the garbage truck is on fire. This northbound lane on the west side is open. This lane right here on the 4-lane is closed. As you'll look at the big picture of what we've got here, you go through Lauderdale. Right there is where the garbage truck is on fire. Total loss, from what I'm understanding, a huge, huge fire as this broke out. There was a lot of reports of that. So good news that we do have a little bit of traffic flowing this morning from that. This was the scene of kind of what the diagram that I made of that earlier this morning there. Simmons responding to the scene to get that moved out of there. Not often that a garbage truck catches on fire. Not good at all. We go to news in Lauderdale County last night from yesterday afternoon, where a person stood before a judge after he was found guilty. And we find that Travis Contez Campbell, 34, was sentenced, as we'll go here to Sam Media, to life in prison without parole. Pretty serious charge. He was a violent, habitual offender, burglary of a dwelling. The Circuit Court Judge Bo Bailey passed on the sentencing yesterday afternoon on that. This goes all the way back to 2019. But again, as we look at the story, it was over and over and over. He's been sentenced to life. I read some of the comments that said that there's been a lot of comments on that, but it was over and over and over. The judge and the jury cast their decision down. Pretty strong. That says a big statement to people. If you continue to break in and rob and not stop, you will get a huge sentence, and that is big there. We did see that there was a wreck yesterday right down from Anderson's Hospital. If you were to be going down to the Walgreens, as we'll pull this up, we had a fender bender there. I think some folks were taken to the hospital. It was a pretty serious little wreck there as they had that fender bender. It was bigger than a fender bender. I'm wording that wrong, aren't I? But medics arrived and they were taken to the hospital to be checked out. I don't think it was life-threatening or anything to that nature, but enough to be taken to be checked out. We also had a structure fire right off Old 8th Street Road in the Meridian area. As we go to this to take a look, no one was home. This was on Westwood Drive. The volunteer fire departments responded. A lot of departments responded. And the concern is right now, the way the weather is, all dry, a home can go up that quick. Last report that I got, I think the kitty cats were saved out of the home as they went to that fire yesterday afternoon. As soon as we got off the air yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, we found out as we were discussing crime in the Meridian area, we would find out that another lady was shot in Meridian yesterday morning. This would happen just after 9 o'clock on 34th Avenue. Now, the victim and the suspect did know one another. Word is that the gunshot rang through a door and she was struck at least once to maybe twice in the leg as we look at this. She was taken to the hospital. We do not believe that was life-threatening either. But again, gunfire, someone shot. Meridian. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Happens a lot. Let's see what we have as we start looking around here. Capitol Police, Jackson, Mississippi, were involved in a chase the other night where gunfire rang out. The person was taken to the hospital after they were wounded. They have passed since then. The two gentlemen that were involved in the chase and in the gunplay have been placed on administrative leave. That happens every time that an officer is involved in a shooting of any sort, as MBI and others investigate this. Again, that's the Capitol Police in Jackson, Mississippi. We'll watch this case and pass along anything else we find about that. Mississippi Highway Patrol yesterday, right around the Jackson area, would try to pull someone over. They would flee. They did get away. No wrecks were caused out of that. That's good. But still, fleeing police. Have mercy. We have a Harrison County female who's been convicted of a DUI, and you have to really, well, that does happen a lot. Yeah, This is much more serious than that. She was drinking and driving, and a deputy had pulled over in Harrison County to help somebody that had a flat. He was changing the tire for them as she sped along, drinking, and struck the officer. She's been sentenced. Thank goodness he didn't lose his life. Drinking and driving doesn't pay in any shape, form, or way. I have not read enough of this to fully, as we all know with everything when it comes to legal matters, you have to really read something to catch fine print. And I need to go back over this 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times to make sure I fully understand this. But Mississippi Today reports that the state board has finalized and updated the policy on guns in schools. As we read what it says, the board voted in July to adopt a new temporary rule to change and address the issue. And after receiving and reviewing public comments, the board made its temporary change a permanent one yesterday. The new policy reads, each local school district shall have a policy concerning weapons on school premises. Now, I interpret that each school, each district could decide if they'll allow it or not. I'll look more into that. I need to talk to Billy Solly and get his termination on that. But there's a lot of ways that could go. But it's also saying that it could have it now. We'll see that. It was talk one time of where teachers would possibly be armed in case of emergencies. I guess they could. Then again, the school could strike that down. We'll get more into that. I'm going to have somebody that knows a little bit more about it, that has read this carefully, that can interpret that. Pike County, man, this happens a lot with businesses. They found somebody that was a route delivery person for them that collected money, embezzled from them. He's been arrested. A saucer man, as we go to Harrison County, has passed away. A 72-year-old man was killed in an auto accident this week. It was at 3 a.m. He had gotten up and ran off the road, and the medium was thrown from the vehicle and perished in that wreck. That's awful. We hate to even tell stories like that, but that is happening around the state of Mississippi. I remember when this next story came out, as we go to, and it's one of those Mississippi counties that I have a little bit of trouble pronouncing because, well, I don't go there much, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce it correctly. Yabalusa County? Am I close? It was the sheriff of the county. He was arrested for, well, taking state funds from inmates, $5,000. He was found guilty, and will have 1-year house arrest on this. He'll have to repay all of this. Shad White broke this case. As we all know, Shad White just truly does not take anything from anyone. Y'all know this as we look at what he's done with what's going on as high as the largest scandal in the state of Mississippi. Chad draws a line, and if you cross it, well, that's you get in trouble. As we look at this is just south of it, and I wanted to look that up because I don't go to that county much, and I apologize on that. As we pull this up, here's where that's located. Here's Oxford, Mississippi, Batesville. This is where the sheriff was from, right there. Been found guilty. I wanted to make sure I was right on that one. But no longer sheriff, been found guilty. He'll have to pay that plus fines and surrender anything with law enforcement. He'll never be able to be a law enforcement official again in his life. The largest event that happens in the state of Mississippi kicks off tomorrow morning. There's more talk about this than anything, and it is the state's largest event. Last year, this brought in $36 million from out of town to the state of Mississippi. What am I talking about? Cruisin on the Coast kicks off for the next 8 days beginning tomorrow. If you like old cars, looking for an old car, any type of thing that you can imagine, it is on the coast. Cruisin the Coast, if you can make it down and enjoy it, do so. Hotel rooms usually get booked up for a year in advance, if not longer. But it's big. You can go down for the day. It's not that long of a drive. Enjoy it and come back, however you want to do that. This next story, as we look about what happens here, you have to be a bad person, in my opinion, and this is an opinion, to harm your parents. Would most folks think that? A Mississippi man has been charged this goes back to February of 2020. What did he do? He killed his parents, mother and father, and then he kidnapped his 9-year-old daughter. We would assume that there was some type of conflict at that point. He's been sentenced now to 60 years in prison. Is that enough? 60 years? Kill both his parents? Happened in February of 23. This was down in Adams County, south of here near Natchez. Kill both his parents, 60 years. Huh. And I know there's a lot of people that are thinking as we talk about the case that just happened just a little bit ago about the gentleman that was stealing, breaking and dwelling, has got life without the chance of parole. He got 60 years for killing. Doesn't mention life without parole on that, does it? You would think that the sentence would be a little bit tougher. That's all I'm saying. That I'm not sure the judge was as tough as they should have been. I may be wrong, and if you agree with that, let me know. If you think the judge was fair, then I guess he was, but I don't see it that way if you compare the two cases there. A Mississippi woman also tried to overturn her conviction. Well, she shot her boyfriend. They were in an argument. She tried to get it thrown out, and the judge said, no way, no how. You're going to be charged with that. I'm telling you, most things that go south end up being in some type, shape, form, or way domestic arguments of people that know each other. Whew. We go to in Noxubee. How many folks we got watching from the Macon, Mississippi area? Noxubee County. Travel there a lot when we used to live in Scuba, Mississippi years ago. That was, 22 miles or so north of Scuba. Always something going on. And what's the story this morning? Noxubee County man is going to spend about, 8 years in prison. What did he do? He hit a woman with a crowbar. Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? A crowbar. That'll kill you. He was charged with domestic violence, all types of other charges. 8 years is what he'll get in the pen for that. 8 years. This is sad as we go to New Mexico. It's been many years since I passed through the state of New Mexico. But as we find out a story coming out of New Mexico, a Mississippi couple has been killed there. And as we set this up of what happened, it was an 18-wheeler on the side of the road who was not in the roadway. He had missed his exit. He was parked on the edge of the road, and he was backing up. The Mississippi couple came along and somehow or another veered off the road and ran into the rear of his 18-wheeler. They were instantly killed at the scene. As we look at this, Arlie Plunk Jr., he was 89 years old, and his wife, Billy, she was 83. They both passed away at the scene there. We pass along condolences to that family, so far away from home for something like that to happen. Sad, sad, sad. And I know where this next story will lead. It'll question what we talk about a lot in Meridian, Mississippi. Naked man. That's exposure, isn't it? Does it a lot. Hadn't had a report in the last week or so of him being out and about. But we go to Tupelo. This guy had been, I don't know if he's been doing something differently. The guy that we have in Meridian more or less just walks around without his clothes. But a man was arrested in Tupelo. Indecent exposure was the charge. He had a shirt wrapped around his head is all he was doing, and had a smile on. 38 years old. Felony charge is what they put him on there. That makes a stiffer crime. Now, to my knowledge, the guy in Meridian's only been arrested once. I guess if you get it twice, it could increase. We'll see. I need to ask somebody about that, about those charges. Is it all misdemeanor? When does it cross over and become a felony? That guy, felony, he'll get some time over that. He'd done it several times. I mentioned yesterday, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it, The Rock. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He's been in countless movies. He's been filming in Memphis for the last few weeks, and he went back, as you'll remember, a few months ago, a year or so ago. He gave a pickup truck to a guy that helped him out. Well, he's been back at that trailer park over the last week or so visiting people that he remembered. He spent several years of his life as a teenager there in that trailer park with the folks that took him in when he had absolutely nothing. Good fella. That's good to see that when you make it big that you don't forget where you come from. Back to Mississippi to say a big thank you. I like that. I really do. This is sad as we go to Natchez, Mississippi, and we see this. Now, this happened in our area a few years ago in Clark County, as we know that people direct traffic at schools. We've had a Mississippi crossing guard. He was 72 years old, struck by a car. He's been taken to the hospital. He was airlifted. I think he will be okay. We haven't gotten full reports of that, but he was injured pretty bad and taken to the hospital. Always watch those school zones. They've got people put out there for a reason there to help. We hope he'll recover pretty quick. I don't stay up late at night because I get up around 4 o'clock, and a lot of you probably do that. If you're up right now, you're not a late night owl either. But I remember the TV show, what's it called, The Daily Show. Do you remember a guy named Jon Stewart was the host of it for years? Well, the guy that took over it is quitting. His name is Trevor Noah. Why? Ratings. Pretty bad. It's gone from 1.5 million viewers down to 360,000. I'd say folks don't care for him. He's out. That happens a lot as we see these big talk shows that just can't fill the shoes of whoever they were taking the place of. In September, nationwide is National Suicide Prevention Month, and I think a lot of us know that. This story has come out, and there were several. It was a news anchor in Wisconsin that committed suicide earlier this month, right at the beginning of the month. I read it and didn't fully understand it, but as we get more into this, it turns out that she had an abusive boyfriend. And there at the end, there was a mention that it didn't go into any detail that she might have found some ladies' lingerie, let me word it that way, in their apartment. Turns out I think he may have been doing more than just being accused. But she did, as we find out this morning, they're releasing more information on that. She did send a text at the last moment before she did what she did, saying that she could not go on with his cheating anymore. As what I've read, I'm not sure that's going to faze him at all, but that's what drove her to where it was. Sad. It very is. That's some of the headlines that are going across America this morning. Some are great, some make you feel for others, doesn't it? I got your forecast next. We've got a lot to talk about yet. We've got hurricanes. We've got sunshine in our area. You can't beat all that. So much more coming up. Stay with us here as, well, we begin this fine Friday weekend. Folks, if your yard is needing grass and you need it quick, talk to our friends at Coates Hydro Seeding. They offer residential and commercial. The great thing about this, it doesn't wash, the water treads, and it holds the soil in place. It's the easiest way to grow grass. That's hydro seeding. You'll get a great-looking lawn without all the dry spots. How many times have you put out seed and it gets washed away, blown away, or even the birds eat it? Talk to our friends at Coates Hydro Seeding, 601-728-1954. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're building, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. There you go. As we get into the weather months, I always have you a good place to go. Talk to them; they'll fix you up there. Wanted to mention that the Highway 15 yard sale is getting underway. It'll happen all weekend from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. all the way through October the 2nd on Sunday. If you're going to be out and about, also this will be a big event tomorrow. If you can, and again, my for whatever reason this is not working the way it should. I've sent a text to those that's supposed to fix things for me, and I hadn't got it fixed yet. But as I pull this up this morning, this is what we've got. The Benefit Co-Ed Softball Tournament is going to be taking place tomorrow. It will be at West Lauderdale High School. It is to benefit Deputy Clint Chew. He needs a little help there as we get into this. It'll be starting at 8 o'clock, $20 per person to play. He's been without work, needs a little help. Deputy in our area. And again, it's going to take place at West Lauderdale tomorrow morning. Hope you can make it out for that and help. Goes to a good cause there. All right, let's turn our thoughts toward weather now as we get this Friday underway.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Let's go back and look at our record highs, record lows. Back in 19, it was 98 today. I think the record low matched yesterday's. It was 1967. Low of 34, one of those chilly days. 2 days in a row, it kind of stayed at the same temperature. This is what we've got today. Perfect weather in Meridian, 80, 79 in Philadelphia as you go all the way through Louisville, all up there to Stark, Vegas, about 79. Out to our west, Vicksburg, Jackson will also see 80 into the south. Hattiesburg remaining 80 as well. Over to Natchez, 79 as we go east into Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Livingston, Demopolis, all 80 degrees. Auburn, a little cooler at 78 today. Good weather there. Now, we've brought this up several times with all this going on. Be careful, don't burn. It is not worth it over the weekend. It is too dry. We've got a lot of wind. Heed local burn bans if those are issued. But don't burn. Let's wait this out. Wait a few days. Whatever you got, it just didn't worth it. Let those old limbs pile up and wait a few days. As we look at what's coming in our weather over the next 6 to 10 days, a little warmer here as we see this 80 degree. We get a little break, and then back in California, it'll warm up again. Here's our 7-day outlook as we look into the future. That crystal ball is, so to speak. Sunshine today, high of 80, but it's going to be windy again. 20-mile-an-hour gusts will come about. Perfect for clothesline weather, isn't it? Tonight, a clear sky right at that 49, 50 degree as it's 49 this morning. Saturday, look at this perfect weather we've got. 80 tomorrow and sunshine, down to 54. Sunday, what a great day as we go to church. 81, low down to 56. And back to work on Monday with 79. And by Thursday, getting up to 85, that little second wave there that we've got coming, that's a little bit warmer. Not bad. Let's go all the way. Let's go another week into October, all the way through the 14th. And we don't cross that 83 mark. Look at that. Perfect. Friday the 14th, 75 for a high. Almost the perfect ingredients. Our biggest chance of rain will come on the 13th as we're looking at this. Pushing, I know, as we get ready to put seed in the ground for the deer hunters. I know all y'all are thinking that. This is what we've got this morning as we look at the big map from the... didn't hit the right button, did I? As we go to the Nashville Hurricane Center, this is a Cat 1 at 86 miles an hour this morning, moving north-northeast at 9 miles an hour, 984 millibars. As we look over here off the coast of Africa, a 50% chance of this storm beginning. We'll quickly pull up radar here where you can take a look and see what we've got happening on radar with the storm this morning. And here it says, later this afternoon, it will move into shore as a Cat 1. Just east of Charleston is where it's headed, in between there and Georgetown. If you got friends, family in that area, let them be prepared. Expected 86 miles an hour as it comes ashore. We want everybody to be as safe as they absolutely can. All right, as we look at this, what's going to happen with the fishing weather today? We turn to Chet's Paint and Body and found out this afternoon. Well, you got a chance right at 5 o'clock. 5 to 7 is the perfect fishing weather. If you make it out, again, reminding you of that wind, north wind 5 to 15 today, but gust up to 20 miles an hour. Have mercy. It's going to be blowing, isn't it? We got Candace coming in about an hour and 1 minute from now. We hope you all come back and join us. Yeah, Kevin, it's something about that PowerPoint thing that just didn't working right. I normally get it every day sent to me, and it worked fine, and then all of a sudden it quit. I don't know. My other PowerPoints work. That one won't. So I got to find out what's going on with it. I've hit every button I can, and it just throws a fit. Good morning from Clarkdale. Sydney, glad to see you there. Let's see, from Fort Polk, Louisiana, Chuck Millsaps is watching. Hope Louisiana is doing good today. Jerome Lee is up. How are you feeling there, my friend? Louise Garrett, glad to see you, along with Laura Lee. Sheila Bounds is up. Beth Vick, glad to see you there. All right, we'll be back 1 hour from now. Candace is coming in. We'll all get things started in just a little while. Be back. Enjoy the show with us as we start your weekend.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: